Hi, Tom. This is Adam.
Okay, so we are now live and recording. So we'll get going. All right, so this is a special meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority. Today is July 25th, 2020. Sorry about that. We had a little problem here. All right. Can everybody still hear and see me? Because we're having an issue on my end with the feed.
I can see you, Tom.
I can see and hear you.
I can hear you.
We can all see and hear you, Tom.
All right, we're back again now. All right, so this is a special meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority. Today is July 25th, 2020. On today's calendar, we have two requests for serving orders of suspension. Present by phone is Chairman Bradley. Chairman Bradley, could you just acknowledge that you're there on the phone?
I'm here.
Okay, we also have by video Commissioner Ford and Commissioner Fan.
Present.
I'm here.
And we also have Counsel to the Authority Meyerhoff joining us by video, and myself in the Albany office, Secretary to the Authority Donahue. All right, the first item we have is 787S. It's Queens OP 1272684. It's Cheap Shots Cross Bay Inc.
Yes, thank you, Tom. Margarita Marsico from my office will do the honors. But take it away, Margarita.
Okay. Good afternoon, members. I'm requesting that the members issue an emergency order of summary suspension as to Cross Bay Inc. doing business as Cheap Shots, serial number 1272684. This premises is located at 137-09 Cross Bay Boulevard, Ozone Park, New York 11417. Very briefly, it's a bar tavern. Cross Bay Boulevard is a commercial boulevard. The issue is that one of the issues is that directly behind Cheap Shots are residential homes. And as I'll describe in their history, this has been a chronic problem for this premise has been a chronic problem for the residents. I'm familiar with Ava Serrano. She's a licensed principal. She used to help manage another Cheap Shots, which is now expired, which had been ostensibly owned by a Mr. Serrano. I had an extended hearing where Ms. Serrano testified. She absolutely knows the rigors of our disciplinary process and the dangers of losing her license if she doesn't follow the law. She just recently, Mr. Katsouris on her behalf submitted an acceptance to a counteroffer for $9,500 in connection with two sale to minors. That's pending before the board. In her past, she's also failed to produce records, failed to comply with local rules, failed to conform to the application by permitting dancing and DJs, which she was not permitted to do, failing to notify the SLA of changes in fact. These offenses were committed in 2014. She's also been found guilty of a sustained pattern of noise and disorder, failure to supervise, and failure to comply. In September of 2014, I prosecuted that case. And for that, I think she paid $7,500. She also had a disorderly premise incident, along with a noise nuisance on February 1st of 2019, for which she paid $1,500. So this licensee principal is very experienced, and she must understand that her license has adverse history. But with that as background, she has had two disclosed visits by the executive order task force and one undisclosed visit. The first visit was on June 27th. The second visit was on July 18th by the task force. And then the third undisclosed visit was by Investigator Stravali on July 19th. Now, on June 27th, which is the first visit, the Executive Task Force investigator by the name of Investigator Taylor, who's been doing a lot of inspections with us, observed 5 individuals inside the premise drinking while at the bar, and other patrons walking in and out of the location with alcoholic beverages without wearing face masks. There were 6 tables outside that were not 6 feet apart from each other, and there were only drinks at the table. The investigator did not see food. There was loud music playing outside, and there were numerous people gathered and even dancing. I haven't had actually, in any of these proceedings, I don't know that I've had people dancing outside. This is the first instance where there are people actually dancing. Now, I would note that a notice of warning letter was given to Ms. Ava Serrano, the licensing principal. And I looked at the notice of warning letter, which is actually very well written. I don't know if anyone on this call was involved in writing this warning, but it's so simple. It's on a white sheet of paper. It's a single paragraph, and it basically tells Ms. Serrano that she has violated the New York PAWS Act. It told her all the provisions that she could have been violating. She was told that a report of her conduct was being forwarded to the SLA. She was told that penalties may include a fine of up to $10,000 for each offense and a suspension or cancellation or revocation of her license. And she was also told that the requirements, all the requirements can be found at the www.sla.ny.gov site. And the last thing she was told was that this conduct must cease and desist in large bold-faced letters. So Ms. Serrano either chose not to call Mr. Katsoris, who's her usual attorney, or ignore the situation, or just continue her quest to make money, because apparently she continued to engage in the same conduct. We received, before the next visit, we received, I think, 2 anonymous complaints from neighbors. They were complaining that she was extending her party to the neighboring building. And I did check it. If you look at the pictures, members, you'll see that her address is 13709. And this area that she created, which is in front of this white wall, that's actually the next door building, which is 13719. Her frontage is very, very small. It's a brick. That's the brick face. Anything that's not brick face is not part of her premise. So anyway, she was, extended into the neighboring area. And so the task force returned on July 18th. This time it was Investigator Murray at around 7:01 p.m. And he observed 2 employees. You could see that one of the waitresses has the mask around her chin. They were serving patrons while improperly wearing masks. The 3 patrons were lingering and consuming alcohol from open containers. And this time they spoke to a Mr. Campanelli, which is kind of interesting because Ms. Serrano said she was going to be managing this premise at all times. And she obviously was not doing that because she was nowhere to be found on July 18th when they spoke to this Mr. Campanelli, and they took his driver's license, which is the photograph of it was provided to the members. So that was the second visit. And again, Mr. Campanelli was given the same very clear warning that I described before. And then the next day, Investigator Stravalli went without announcing himself, and he made certain observations. He got there later. He got there 1:15 in the morning, and he took photographs. You have them for your consideration. And that photograph shows that there's over 30 patrons congregating and lingering in front of the licensed premise, and they were standing and are seated, and they were not socially distancing and not wearing masks. So, for these reasons, we're requesting that the members suspend Ms. Serrano's license. She knows better at this point, and she should have been following the law, and she should have been heeding our warnings, and she should have just ceased and desisted when she was told to do so. So for these reasons, we're requesting summarily suspend this license.
Okay, Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
No, I do not.
Commissioner Ford?
No, I don't have any questions either.
Okay, and Chairman Bradley, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
All right, then we'll proceed with the vote. Commissioner Fan?
This licensee clearly has a long history with the authority and knows better, as council mentioned. And that she has repeatedly violated the governor's executive orders and numerous other ABC laws with allowing her employees to serve with no face mask, serving no food late night, and having loud music and outside dancing and violating the 11 p.m. curfew. Due to imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare, perhaps tonight, I vote to issue this emergency order of summary suspension as requested by council's office.
Commissioner Ford.
Even after a few visits and a notice of warning was given, I believe on the 18th of July, by the next night they were doing exactly the same thing, failing to exercise supervision, lack of social distancing, open containers, large groups gathered, extended, beyond 100 yards from in front of the place, and after curfew. So, as Commissioner Fan has noted, there's multiple violations here, and it appears to be no effort to try to adhere to the rules and the laws. So I vote to summarily suspend.
Chairman Bradley.
I
Chairman
vote
Bradley?
to summarily suspend. It's obvious that she has no intention of following the executive order guidance or the executive order laws and the guidance that's put out by the Liquor Authority, and as a result, her establishment has become a serious risk to the public health, particularly the public health, welfare, and safety.
Okay, then we'll move to the next item, which is 787T, Queens OP 1290240, Lima Restaurant Corp.
So I was at this location last night, so some of the observations you're going to hear about I made myself, so I am going to recuse myself from these proceedings.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm going to hang up now.
Thank you, Chairman.
All right, then, councils?
Yeah, Gary Meyerhoff here. This is Lima Restaurant Corp., Commissioners Ford and Fan. They're in Jackson Heights on Northern Boulevard, 8507. Northern Boulevard has been a location where we've had lots of activity late at night out in front of these bars and restaurants. It's been a bit of a whack-a-mole type situation where we've suspended or charged lots of them, and the crowd, I suppose, moves to whoever's willing to continue to serve illegally. They've been observed in violation of the executive orders 9 times since June 13th, warned directly at least 3 or 4 times. The restaurant's been licensed since 2016. To run through a little of their conduct, back in June 13th, New York City was still in phase 1. NYPD Lieutenant Saracey reported finding patrons sitting and drinking in front, even though no outdoor service was allowed at that time under the pause rules in phase 1. Told the manager that as a matter of great discretion, they would not issue a summons, gave him tips on how to comply with the law, and that was June 13th. June 19th, Lieutenant Saracey was back again, and this time he just observed numerous people sitting inside at the bar and at tables. Inside service was illegal then and is illegal now in New York City. June 26th, our own investigators were there, the State Liquor Authority investigators, Stravali, at around 8:15, saw 2 people inside on a bench eating, one with a beer between his legs, another party at the next table, and then I believe he returned a couple hours later and saw 9 people sitting inside at 3 tables, all with beverages. Again, indoor seating, illegal during all phases. June 27th, a drive-by or visit from a police officer, Dolan, observed at 11:33 p.m., which is after the 11 o'clock curfew, multiple patrons seated and standing. Investigator Stravali was back on June 30th, saw people sitting inside again at 5:50 p.m. watching TV. And then on July 14th and July 16th, two more sightings and reports from NYPD, Police Officer Radicinj and Police Officer Amato both saw the licensed premise serving to over 20 standing or sitting people in front of the location after 11 p.m. We got a lot of these reports as we realized this place was a problem. They were not all given to us in time, or we would have hopefully been there earlier. But in any event, on July 18th, last weekend, and by the way, with those earlier incidents, we provided you with the police reports and the investigator reports and some pictures, which I understand may not be as clear as the ones we have for the most two recent reports. But the two most recent reports pretty clearly show the scene that as it was outside of Lima last weekend and then again last night. The pictures from July 18th are from 11:40 p.m. and later, again, with impunity, operating after the 11 o'clock curfew. Large group standing out in front of the place, in between the tables. The tables look way too close together. Nobody's wearing masks, or very few people. There does not appear to be any traditional table service or food being consumed. It's just drinking. Music playing, essentially a nightclub atmosphere on the street with people standing and congregating. We have been in touch with these officers at the 115th Precinct. This is a problem location for them, and they want our help with it. So you have pictures on July 18th. And then last night, Investigator Stravali was back with Chairman Bradley and saw a very similar scene to what was witnessed on July 18th. The report says 23 people milling about, not wearing masks and standing in front outdoors. The outdoor traffic barrier is actually being used as a bar table with drinks resting on it. People standing directly in front of the doorway, obstructing the sidewalk, drinks in hand, no social distancing, no table service, traditional table service, music playing. Also, people watching the large screen inside. Investigator Stravali had told management back in June that was an attractive nuisance, that people were going to come want to be watching that television and that he should do something about it, and he apparently didn't. So this is a paradigm example of the problem we have in New York City right now. The customers will go to a place that's willing to serve them illegally. This is a place that's willing to do so. It's shown so repeatedly, and the only way to stop them from continuing to serve illegally and posing a continuing threat to public health and safety would be to issue a summary suspension order. So we ask that you do that now. Thank you.
All right, then, Commissioner Fan, any questions?
No, Tom, I do not have any questions.
All right, Commissioner Ford, any questions?
I'm good. I don't have any questions either.
All right, then I'll call for the vote then. Commissioner Fan?
This licensee has committed multiple violations of the governor's executive orders, at least since June 13, with indoor dining, service past the 11 p.m. curfew, drinking outside in large groups. Not everyone is wearing face masks, no food service, and loud music playing. The licensee has been warned multiple times, but still continue to serve alcohol in violation of standing laws. And due to the immediate threat to public health, safety, and welfare, I'm voting to impose an emergency order of summary suspension to protect this licensee's patrons and employees.
Commissioner Ford?
And I will add to that, again, spreading their sphere of influence 100 feet away, not following social distancing, not providing proper face coverings and masks. Again, after curfew, music playing. 115th Precinct gives me an impression that this place is bordering, if not actually already, a focal point for their attention. I think they've been there, 9 times since June? Is that what you said, Counselor? Since June 13th?
Yes.
And also, yes, thank you. And also, people inside, which is not allowed in New York City right now. So for all those reasons that Commissioner Fan noted, and plus what I just added, I vote to summarily suspend.
All right then, I have no other matters before the members, so with that, we will end the meeting. I appreciate you all joining in, and
Yes.
the meeting is concluded.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for coming in, taking care of this. Much
Thank you,
appreciated.
council. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, thank you.